Love, exciting and new.
Hello, Hannah Waddingham here. Have you seen the fabulous new Sun Princess? World-class entertainment, exceptional dining, and the greatest pizza ever.
It's a love.
Don't miss our Come Aboard sale with up to 40% off and free room upgrades. Visit princess.com or call your travel advisor to book. Princess Cruises. Terms and restrictions apply. Offer ends 2/28/25. Ships are Bermudan and British Registry.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Oh yeah, we're back live on Saturday. It's the No Credentials Required program. God, that came off awful. Let me try. Rewind. Let me rewind.
We are live.
We're live, folks. All right, well, welcome to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. My name's Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts, and to my right is a man who definitely did not have a Thanksgiving turkey coma on Thursday, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing all right. And it's time for full disclosure. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope everyone who celebrates and was able to celebrate had a great Thanksgiving as well. I understand the weather delayed a few Thanksgivings, or put the kibosh on a few. My father, unfortunately, was not able to join us for Thanksgiving. Originally, they were going to, but they started out and they just said the roads are too bad. We got to turn around. We said, we understand. Let us know when you're home safe. But I had a great Thanksgiving. Full disclosure, though, this is going to be a fun show because I did not get a chance to watch much football. I'm not trying to call her out. She was a great host, but my sister hates football, okay? With like a fiery passion. She likes the food that surrounds it. But Ryan, you've witnessed it. You've been to some of my Super Bowl parties, and when she's here, she only cares about the commercials, the food, and the puppy Super Bowl. We got to watch the Puppy Bowl every year because she gets all over it, but she hates football. So we watched Harry Potter movies instead, which I got to say, controversial take. I don't understand the hype. I've seen 2 of them so far. This was my first watch through. I don't understand the hype. Your thoughts, Ryan?
On the parade?
No, on the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, I've only watched 2 or 3 of them, so yeah. I don't get it. I remember hearing a comedian. Sorry, I was distracted trying to promote the show. Sorry.
Yeah,
so
no, it's
that's
okay.
That's why I was like, what? You're throwing
it's
it my way.
Okay,
but
it's my fault. I kind of threw you. I threw you right in front of a car there.
Let me think. Yeah, I've only seen like 2 or 3 of the Harry Potter movies, but I remember a comedian talk. There's a viral clip of a comedian who talks about how Harry Potter is essentially Star Wars, but with magic.
Yeah, I mean, so far I agree with that assessment, and that's why I don't want to yuck anybody's yum, because I love Star Wars, right? And I acknowledge that they are not perfect movies, but Star Wars clicked with me. And maybe some of it is the age. I'm watching Harry Potter for the first time as a 41-year-old man. Maybe if I watched it for the first time as like a 13-year-old, it probably might have a different impact on me. But my sister and I were joking around. Rupert Grint, who plays Ron Weasley in those movies.
The ginger, yes.
He really only can make one face. Like that's his
Yeah.
acting
That's
dimension.
his acting dimension.
So we were doing it all the time.
Is it the resting Tucker Carlson face where he's like this?
It's those mixed with like he kind of like I can't do it. She does it perfectly, but he looks mildly concerned and or constipated the whole time. Like that's his reaction. So
Like the resting. Yeah, I'll have to find that face and try to. Let me see. Let me think. Ron Weasley face. Oh, this one.
Yeah. He just looks like mildly concerned all the time.
Somebody's gonna clip that.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be me.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'll talk about my Thanksgiving in just a second. But I have to take care. We have some business items to take care of, including letting people know that we're on social media on Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, Twitter, Instagram, scarcely use TikTok @NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. Give us a like. And the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Pandora, and don't forget to get yourself notified. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when we're live. The OG show is live or it's pre-recorded, because sometimes we might do a pre-recording. Mm-hmm. You'll know when the Three Rails Metro Hockey podcast is back up. I'm not sure if we're recording tomorrow or tomorrow or Monday. I'll find out from my other Metro Hockey brothers. I actually saw some highlights. I was watching highlights this morning. Your Oilers had a nice OT win against the Utah Hockey Club.
You know, it's about time. They need to get it together. The Stanley Cup hangover is real, and they didn't even win it. That's the sad thing. But yeah. I really feel like they had a hangover, because in the offseason, I felt like they made some moves that maybe kind of, I don't want to say made them better than last year's team, but I thought it would at least be comparable. And so far to start the year hasn't been the best for my Oil.
And my New Jersey Devils took another 2 points from the Detroit Red Wings yesterday, so they're back on top of the Metropolitan Division. Yeah, I'm not going to brag, but I'm going to brag. Continuing on with the business, on the podcast side, rate and review. A 5-star rating would be very helpful. If you're on a platform where you can review the show, please do so. And if you're a Spotify subscriber, you can now leave comments for every episode, past and future. So please leave us a comment. They help the show. Yeah. And we're a live show. Tuesdays at 7:05 Eastern. Dustin will not be, just FYI, Dustin will not be on Tuesday's show. He's got some family stuff to take care of, but I'm going to see if I can recruit some people, recruit some friends of the show, maybe get a new friend of the show.
Yeah.
To join me on Tuesday, talk some NFL, review week 13. We're already at week 13, and tomorrow is December 1st. How crazy is that?
That is insanity to me.
So, and we got a couple more Friday happy hours coming up too. So yeah. We'll let you know what those dates are. I'll let you know. Actually, I'll tell you on Tuesday when those dates are. So, feel free to grab an adult beverage and join us on those Fridays. Also, FYI, no show on the 24th or the 31st, because if you're live streaming on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, you're a psychopath. I got to tell you that. All right. So no show on the 24th or the 31st. We'll do a quick review. We'll probably do an amalgamation of a review and a preview of the next week on the following Saturday show.
Yeah.
So just want to give some business. But anyway, engage with the show. We've got some comments in the comments section already. Dustin, I look at my watch. What time is it?
I do believe it's chime time, my good man.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, as I mentioned, we got some comments in the comment section already from our friend of the show, the playmaker, Darnell Solon, saying, "Good morning, No Creds brothers. Good morning to you as well, sir."
Good morning to you. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, playmaker. From that plate you posted on Facebook, it looked like a good one.
Ooh, I gotta find that plate. But also his mom's a Cowboys fan, so I'm pretty sure he had to go through the insufferability of seeing them win on Thursday. And he also says, I'm thoroughly convinced that the Kansas City Chiefs, they are God's team.
Oh man, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that because
we're gonna have to get into that.
Antonio Pierce had his team ready to play. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and Kevin Wilson of Belly Up Fantasy Sports wisely said it on the comments on our Thursday game. He says on our Thursday show, he said 13 point spread, I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
And if you had the Raiders to cover, you made some money.
Kevin is a wise man, not only because he's a very knowledgeable Seahawks fan, a knowledgeable person in general. And if you ever need help with who to sit or start on your fantasy team, maybe you're looking for a sleeper, go check out his articles at Belly Up because he's got the picks. People previous shows have asked if we talk fantasy. We really don't. But if you're looking, go to Belly Up. They got plenty of people that do. Yep. Kevin Belly among
Up.
them.
Yep, Belly Up Sports.
I'm a little biased because he's got great taste in football teams.
Of course you do. BellyUpSports.com, BellyUpFantasySports.com. Lots and lots of good articles to read there. But yeah, Kevin Wilson is our fantasy tribal chief. We acknowledge him. By the way, Survivor Series is tonight.
Yes, it is
6 p.m. start. 6 p.m. start, which is incredible.
There's 2 versions of the bloodline now. That's
yes.
I see. I don't follow the current stuff at all. But
yeah, I like I said, I only keep up because I tune into ups and downs from Simon Miller, fellow bald a-hole. But he's got that's a great show. Also, Monarchs of Wrestling is also a great show as well.
Oh yeah,
our friend, our brother, the Playmaker, and our other friend of the show, Cool McCain. On Mondays, they talk about all things wrestling. So check it out on their respective channels. But yeah, my Thanksgiving, I wound up not going. So what I'm doing though is that I mean, at least shovel a part of my driveway that I can at least get out of the driveway. Because I was getting to go. My sister wasn't feeling great, so she was going to stay behind. I had the holiday cheer in the back. And holiday cheer, by holiday cheer I mean alcohol. Beer, wine, wine for the ladies. My sister-in-law and her sisters are wine drinkers, so I got them. I got them French wine because that's how I do.
There you go. Was it a Beaujolais?
It was a Beaujolais. Yes.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yes, it was. Nicely priced too. By the way, I was getting ready to go, and I just was catching up on text messages, and I saw that I was just seeing people were still going. And my sister calls me after I shut my door, and my sister calls me. She goes, "Do you really want to go?" I'm like, you know what? Let's just stay behind. I'll go to Hannaford. I'll pick something up because we got a Hannaford right down the street from us. Yeah. So I made my way over there, and I was gonna get a standing rib roast, beef rib roast. I was like, I've never tried it. I want to try it. I want to do it. I looked at it. It was a 5-pound roast. 5-pound standing rib roast. I don't think it wasn't even 5 pounds. $53.
Wow.
I said nope. So I went picking up a 5-pound. I want to pick up a 5-pound pork roast instead.
Mm-hmm.
$15.
There you go.
And got some vegetables. Got some potatoes. Got some green beans to saute. Got some other things. Got a couple of little treats. Got some dessert. I said, you know what? I'm gonna make myself a pork roast for Thanksgiving. Make it a little non-traditional.
Yeah.
Non-traditional Thanksgiving. And there you go. That's my Thanksgiving.
That sounds I mean, you made the best of it, man. You made the best of it. And pork underrated meat, as we've talked about before.
Sure.
I'll call
steaks,
it out right now.
Pork.org.
Yes. So I am a novice smoker. I love to do it, but I'm also a diva, so I won't be out in the wintertime smoking when a lot of other people are. And pork, I think far and away my favorite thing to smoke. You remember earlier in the season, I got a huge, massive thing of pork, and I smoked it pretty much all day this Saturday before. I pulled that thing off at 11:30 p.m. But it was delicious, man. So I love pork. Pork is highly underrated for me.
It is. Which brings us to this next edition, the newest edition of where is it? Here it is. Hot food takes. And this
Quite
was
a
kinda,
spring on that bun. That
it
bun's gonna
is.
fly right off the top.
It makes me wonder what kind of chemicals are made for that bun. But this was kind of impromptu because we didn't really think to do it. But I said, you know what? I'm going to throw something out there that none of us really thought of until I thought of it this morning.
Yeah.
Breakfast meat power rankings. So there's only a few meats I can really think of off the top of my head, and they're all pork related.
Mm-hmm.
But you can make different variations of them. You can get yourself some turkey bacon. You can get yourself some turkey sausage, and turkey sausage ain't bad. Not going to besmirch it, but it's not real bacon. So you got your main tier of breakfast meats. Again, they're all pork related: bacon, sausage, ham. You also got Canadian bacon, which is just basically ham. Although, let me do some real time research about the difference between Canadian bacon and ham.
All right. And while I see from while we're on the topic of hot food takes in the comments,
Yes,
Darnell saying, get together at my place for Survivor Series tonight while the family's still in town. Great idea. What's the spread? What are you putting out? And will pork be among it?
I'm pretty sure. I'm certain it will be. He also says, "God, take half the spread home." LOL. So I found it. So the Google says that Canadian bacon comes from the back of the pig, specifically the loin, whereas ham comes from the hind legs of the pig, specifically the rears and the thighs.
All
so
right.
It's back bacon. Just basically that's what back bacon is. If you have yourself a back bacon sandwich, that's what Canadian bacon is. So I guess we'll add Canadian bacon to the mix.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
it's a different cut. It's a different cut.
Yeah.
Because you got your bacon is basically pork belly.
Yep.
Then you got your ham, which is on the back of the legs. You got your back bacon, Canadian bacon, which is from the loin, the back of the pig, and then you got sausage, which is just ground up, put in tube or patty form. I prefer the links myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. So Dustin, or if you're in the comment section, give us your favorite meat to eat at breakfast.
All right, so it
could be. I'm certain people will have brisket for breakfast.
Yeah.
That'd be delicious.
I envy those people. That's also
I do too.
Expensive. But okay. So as with everything, it's me, everybody. We know that you have to. I have conditions. So if it is just with like a fried egg or something like that, links, sausage links, number one with a bullet.
Okay.
I love to have them on the side with pancakes. I love to have them with eggs, as I just detailed. Sometimes, if you've never tried a fried egg with some chili oil on a bed of arugula with a couple of sausage links surrounding it, do it. You're not going to be disappointed. Okay. Now, so sausage links are number one. Coming in at number two is bacon, straight up bacon. Love me some bacon, American bacon. All right. I don't know if it's called that. I think it's just bacon. I love bacon. I like crispy bacon. I'm partial to that. I know not everybody loves their bacon crispy. I'm a crispy bacon man. Again, bacon, versatile. You can have it as a great breakfast side. It's hard not to eat a whole plate. Also, save that bacon grease. Don't throw it out. You can use it. You can use it to cook. I use it to cook my eggs in a lot of times. And if you really want to get wild, cook your pancakes in bacon grease. You'll have a good time. Don't do that all the time, though. Your stomach might not be able to recover. So now,
Are you speaking of this from personal experience, Dustin?
Yes. All right. So now we go to number three. For me is the sausage patty. Like you, Ryan, I prefer the links, but I will take the patty because it's a perfect vessel to add to a breakfast sandwich every once in a while. If the patties are there, I'll take them and eat them on the side too, but I much prefer the links when it's just a side. All right. Then we're coming in at Canadian bacon at number 4. I don't eat it that often. It's a nice surprise when I do eat it, but at the same time, I end up thinking, man, I could have just gone for some regular bacon on that one. But Canadian bacon, gotta give our some love to our neighbors from the north. So it's
Yes.
Canadian bacon at number
Yes.
4. And then at number 5, it's ham. Ham, I don't use ham as a breakfast food very often. About the only time is if I have leftover ham steak and I gotta use it up. I'll have it with some eggs. I have used it on a breakfast sandwich in a pinch. If you're noticing, I like to use breakfast sandwiches quite a bit as like a meal to break it up from cereal or something else, and it's a good meal on the go. I've also recently started using the breakfast burrito, which does open up
Ooh.
your options some, but my meat ranking stands the same for that. So to recap, number 1, sausage links. Number 2, bacon. Number 3, sausage patties. Number 4, Canadian bacon. Number 5, ham. If you agree or disagree with me, sound off in the comments. Or if you're watching on the replay, get at me on the replay. I'll respond if I see it. And with that, I hand the floor to my very well-dressed co-host today. I love that sweatshirt. Always have, sir.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link to it later. They're on sale. It's a great sweatshirt. It's a great company too. It's a small company. It's another veteran-owned company. So I love supporting veteran-owned companies. This one is no exception. My good buddy Sean, my good buddy Sean, who lives in Atlanta, got to know these guys, and he's like, "Yeah, check out their clothing. I've got like a bunch of their clothing." So
nice.
So yeah, this is their George Washington flag hoodie, which I got. So I'm a big fan of it. I had to give my other one away to my dad because the other one was too big. I had to get a size smaller, so because I'm shrinking. But yeah, let me start with. I'm going to go from in ascending order. So I'll start with number 1. My number 1 is bacon. Bacon all the way. I'm with me. Bacon. I like the in between. So not quite. It's. I like still like a little bit of chew, but I also like a little bit of crunch. So I like that. I try to make my bacon on the in between when it comes to bacon, and I do things a little different when I make my bacon. I do it in the oven. Here's what you do.
Okay. Yep.
You put your bacon on a cookie sheet. You put it in the oven, cold oven. Temperature to 400. And you just let it go for about 22, 23 minutes. But I like to put the convection on because I have it cook a little faster. Yeah. And also what I do and about halfway through is that, and you'll see the sizzle start. I like to turn the cookie sheet about 2/3 of the way through. So that way every side gets cooked.
Mm-hmm. All right. You are a gentleman and a scholar because
thank you.
Guess what? I cook bacon much the same way in the oven, but except I use tin foil on the bottom of the sheet.
Yeah, I do that too.
And then at the end, as I detailed, I pour out the bacon grease into a cup, let it harden, put it in your fridge. Then it's like butter.
Yeah.
Right on. Oh,
game changer, by the way, in the kitchen, the nonstick tin foil.
Oh yeah, you need
Such
that.
A game changer. Game changer. I was so happy when that came out. So bacon's number 1. Number 2, sausage links. Number 2 is sausage links. I love going to the old school. Like I grew up in New Jersey. We lived in New Jersey. We used to go to diners often because there'd be a diner there'd be a church on one corner in New Jersey, and there would be a diner on the other corner. It was such a cool thing. Like you see the diners all up and down the New York Route 23 in New Jersey. After church, my grandpa, my nana and pop used to take us to the Princess Diner, which is unfortunately no longer open. It is now what now resides there is a half Starbucks and half Nothing Bundt Cakes. On Route 23 in New Jersey. But they still have the Pompton Queen, which I need to go to next time I go to New Jersey. I need to visit the Pompton Queen because diner food is just outstanding. We still have like a good amount of diners in this area, but it's nothing like New Jersey diners.
That's what I've heard. New Jersey diners are in a class of their own. You're not the first person to say that.
Yeah. I've heard that. On the way back, I know you're going to MetLife Stadium on Sunday.
Yeah.
Maybe on the way back, there's a couple, there might be some diners on 17. You might want to check out. So I don't know if Nick just wants to get home right away or whatever, but
He probably will.
Put a bug in. I'd put a bug in because I'm like, you know, there's some diners on 17. There's some diners on Route 17 we could probably hit up on the way home. But put a bug in his ear. We'll see what happens. But yeah, New Jersey diners are just there. I know people love the goof on New Jersey because it's New Jersey. It's a butt of the joke of pretty much every person in America. But yes. Can I help you? Yeah.
No, I was just saying it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
But the food is excellent. All right. You got your New Jersey Ripper hot dogs. You got your diner food. You got your pizza, which I think New Jersey pizza is better than New York pizza. Hot take. Same with bagels.
You are not the only one to say that as well. My friend Dave Huffy, who you met, his wife from Jersey, she has the same feeling about Jersey pizza, she says.
Oh, there's one other breakfast. You know what? I'll add in an honorable mention, but let me continue to keep going here. Yeah. So, link sausage. Gotta get some pancake. Anytime you go to a diner, you gotta get pancakes and some link sausage.
That's
hands
solid.
Down, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Number 3, like you, sausage patties, because sausage patties are versatile because you can put them on a sandwich. You can put them. I like getting the ground sausage and making my own patties.
Yeah.
My sister. I'm not sure if you've had this. If you've had this. No, you've had this. My sister makes a breakfast bake with stuffing, eggs, crumbled sausage, and cheese on top.
Yeah, I've had that. It's delicious. Okay. We did it for speaking of Nick, we did it for his birthday.
You did for his birthday. Yes, we did.
In Carolina, yeah.
Yes, we did. So
and you made your hash, didn't you?
I did make my hash, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
But I used pancetta bacon instead of regular bacon for that. But yeah, so sausage patties / crumbled sausage, number 3. Number 4, Canadian bacon, because FYI, fun fact, on the ham, egg, and cheese sandwich at McDonald's, that's Canadian bacon. That's not.
I never knew that.
Canadian bacon.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it looks like ham, but it's not ham. That's Canadian bacon, my friend. But Canadian bacon is good stuff. Number 5 is regular ham, regular deli ham. I mean, ham steaks are good. Every once, when my sister and I have Brenner, which is breakfast and dinner.
Yes.
Or breakfast for dinner, excuse me. I'll grill some, it's during the summer and springtime or fall. I'll grill a ham steak on the grill. Cook up some eggs, a little toast. So ham, egg, and toast. Very nice. Very nice meal. She'll eat half of her ham steak and use the other one to make an omelet. So it's pretty cool. And honorable mention, because I talked about New Jersey, this totally came up to my mind. I don't think Dustin has ever had it, but Taylor ham. Not Taylor pork roll.
I've not had it.
Taylor ham.
Oh man, where are you, Jersey G? We need you in the comments.
She's getting the ring in her ear. Somebody called it Taylor ham and not Taylor pork roll. But you can tell. But here's the thing: with New Jersey, whatever you call it indicates where you're from, which part of New Jersey you're from. If you're from the northern part of New Jersey, if you're from northern New Jersey, you call it Taylor ham. If you're from South New Jersey, you call it pork roll. Taylor pork roll. To me, it's always been Taylor ham. But but when we went to Outer Banks in 2014, and I stayed an extra week with my sister, when my parents and their friends and my friends Chris and Barb came down, I entered I call her my aunt. She's not really my aunt, but I call her my aunt. I've called her my aunt since I was like a little bitty. But she brought Taylor ham.
Oh man!
And Chris had never tried Taylor ham. He's like, "What's this Taylor ham?" Like, buddy, you ought to know. Like Lance Morissette, you ought to know. So I cooked up some Taylor ham, get on an egg, put it on a sandwich, put some cheese on it. He tastes it. He's like, "What have I been missing?" So I know I would hook up at my Russell's Deli in down the hill from me in Boston Spa. He's got Taylor ham. He sells it by the pound. So every once in a while we'll get some Taylor ham and we'll make Taylor ham and turkey sandwiches, which is also awesome. So, all right. So, but you can have that for breakfast too. Taylor ham and eggs. Great. I had to do a no kitchen required where I have you try Taylor ham because it's just something about I can't really describe what it actually it is. Off the top of my head, like it's an indescribable food in the fact that it's like it's pork, but they make it a lot different. So I'm not sure how I'll have to do some research on that, but yeah. So that's our breakfast food power rankings, and that has been this edition of Hot Food Takes.
Hot Food Takes. And also, thanks to Playmaker in the comments, he gave me an idea for a future food rank. We should rank the McDonald's breakfast foods. We should do that. Because McGriddle from Mickey D's, I'll give you a little spoil. Man. That's going to be number one on my list. I love a good McGriddle right here. It's so once again, Playmaker, you're helping us out. You're a font of content for us. Thank you for the idea. But tune in for a future Hot Food Takes where we rank the McDonald's breakfast option.
Speaking of fast food breakfasts, have you ever had Burger King breakfast?
I have not. I'm not.
It's not great.
Wendy's breakfast is surprisingly. My sister was like, "You got to try Wendy's breakfast." Yes, she does sound like that. No, I'm joking, but she kept saying, "You got to try it." So I finally did, and I'm like, you know what? She's onto something. This isn't bad.
McGriddle is obviously great because that's a sausage in the pancake.
Oh man, it's the best.
Good. So good. So bad for you, but so good.
I know.
Playmaker also says sausage links. Roger Wood brand. I'm not sure it might be a regional brand where he is.
Yeah.
And maybe. Sausage patties. Every now and then bacon. Okay.
Moderation, man. That's a smart man. I need to practice some of that.
Yes.
Because doctor? I lost some weight during Uncle Melvin, but I found about 15 of it. Oh. So I gotta get back on the horse here.
There we go. All right. Let's talk about the NFL Thanksgiving / Black Friday games. I like Dustin. I confess I didn't get to see much football, or the little I watched, it wasn't very entertaining. I missed out on the Lions Bears game. We'll talk about that game first, which saw a coach get fired.
Yeah,
finally.
I mean, the way that game ended, I'm sorry. He should have been for that. He should have been, because some of his decision making and some of have cost the Bears wins. But man, the way I didn't see the second half of this game, and I wish I did, because the Bears were down, I think it was 16-3 at the half. I'm trying to remember. And seems like they came back. They battled back, which credit to them for battling back. But man, the Lions still the class of the NFC right now.
Yep. Absolutely. I don't disagree. Final score 23-20. Caleb Williams, actually, between him and Jared Goff, he had 256 yards in this game. But yeah, they were down as many as 23. They were down 23-7 at one point. Scored 13 points in the final fourth. In the fourth quarter, Keenan Allen with a touchdown pass. DJ Moore with a touchdown catch. They failed a 2-point conversion, and DJ Moore with the touchdown catch, 31 yards with 5:36 left. And they had a chance to win the game, as we talked about. We almost had Caleb Williams come back, his first real comeback game, but he had one timeout remaining. Then they were rolling. They were rolling down the field. They were going down at a pretty good tick before the last play of the game, where they tried to chuck it downfield, and unfortunately for them, it went up incomplete, and that was the game. But you can't leave one timeout on the board. That's inexcusable.
Yeah.
And then his comments at the end after the game was over, he's like, "Yeah, I thought we did pretty well with clock management. I thought we had a pretty good chance to win that game." And it's like, dude, you have one timeout left, and you left it on the board. What are you doing?
Yeah, Coach Flus. He fleeced the Bears out of a win on that one.
He also fleeced himself out of a job.
He did. He fleeced himself right out of a job, which I remember. And we don't want to celebrate anyone losing their job. But the thing is, because when Brendan Staley finally got fired last year, I don't know if you remember, but we did an episode of the show, and I started going in because Matt Eberflus, they won a Monday night game against the Vikings. That was improbable. And one stat that was announced during that game caused me to do a bunch of research. It was that was his first interdivisional NFC North win. And I'm like, that can't be right. That can't be right. And I went back, and sure enough, he had lost every interdivisional matchup prior to that. And I remember, and I was saying, we're not calling for anybody to be fired because we try not to celebrate that type of thing on the show. But after I fell into your nickname there. Brandon Staleyfield, you always used to call him because he would make leads disappear.
He would make leads disappear.
So then I coined Matt Eberflus. It was a bit of a reach, but I was working with what I had. I coined Matt Eberflus Eberfludini, and Eberfludini struck again during this game. But you're just like, how? How did the Bears retain him when his interdivisional record was that bad? He had to beat all the teams that you're supposed to beat more than any others are the ones within your division. And your first interdivisional win came at a Monday night game that I think was late in the season last year. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Man, that management, that's not clock management. I mean, credit to the Lions, because the Lions, they didn't break, but the Bears shot themselves in the foot on this one. The Bears were coming back on the Lions, which was shocking to see because no one's really done that this year to the Lions in my memory. Somebody can correct me. Julie, you probably have seen a lot more of their games than I have.
The Houston game.
That's right.
Where Goff threw 5 interceptions and they still won that game.
Yes. That's really been the only one. But that one, Detroit kind of had to make the comeback a little bit and rally. But I don't think anybody's really come back on Detroit to that degree before. So it was surprising, but Matt Eberflus is the reason the Bears lost that game.
Yeah. And speaking of Julie from Michigan joining us, she says, I'm just in time for the Lions talk. Playmaker saying 33 seconds didn't call timeout and the clock ran out. Inexcusable. And they were at Detroit's 41-yard line.
Yeah. They could have called a timeout and kicked a field goal. They could kick the field goal and send it to overtime. Actually, they had gotten down to Detroit's 25, but they had an illegal use of hands penalty, which brought them back 10 yards to the 35. Then Williams got sacked, which brought them back to the 41. They had 3rd and 26 from the 41-yard line. You don't call a timeout. They should have called that timeout after the penalty to say, all right, let's just kick the field goal. Let's go to overtime. Yeah.
Nope. Julie's saying that game took years off my life. Kevin Wilson, say his name and he appears. Eberflus is lucky they didn't leave him in Detroit. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't leave him on the tarmac at Detroit Fort Wayne Airport.
That still reminds me of the quote from Scott during the playoffs. My Uncle Al, me, and Scott were watching the Chargers blow that huge lead they had, and Scott's like, Staley should be left on the tarmac.
She also said the Vikings made it really close, but Jake Bates kicked a game-winning field goal. Yeah, that was a close game too. And if David Montgomery's fumble doesn't happen, which gets returned for a touchdown, that game's a loss for sure. The other games, the second game, the afternoon game, with the Giants and the Cowboys. And I'll be honest with you, at around halftime, it was 10-7 at halftime. Oh, I'm sorry. It was 13 and 10 at halftime. And I'm trying to get through. I'm just like, do I really want to watch this game? Do I really want to watch this game? And I had my Dallas Sucks beer, one of them for Thanksgiving with my pork loin, with my pork roast, mashed potatoes and green beans. But I'm sitting there going, do I really want to watch this game? So I didn't. I backed out of Fubo and I started watching King of the Hill. So I'm on that train right now. I'm on, I want to say binge watch, but I'm trying to get through every single season of King of the Hill before they reboot it next year.
Okay.
So I started watching King of the Hill. No, I'm sorry. I watched Lady Ballers. That's why I watched. I watched Lady Ballers. I haven't seen that in a while. So I watched Lady Ballers, and I tune in just because. And the Cowboys had scored 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. And I'm like, all right, this game's over. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie. So I watched the movie, and I know the final score. I'm like, wow, Giants made a game out of it, but they kind of didn't because he scored a touchdown late.
Yeah, they scored, and I too did not see any of this game. But my uncle Al was texting me throughout the game, as he usually does. Usually, it's mostly met with disgust from the Giants, and he did say he said he goes, "Your boy," because we always do that joke from PTI back in the day. He goes, "Your boy Drew Lock is much better than Tommy DeVito, at least in the early going." And I said, "Yeah, Drew Lock, he's not great, but at least he can competently run an offense for times. You know, Drew Lock has become, in my mind, what a backup QB in this league is." He comes in and he can either stop the bleeding or maybe give you a chance in a game. That's all you're looking for out of a backup QB. Drew Lock is a backup. But I will say, and I hate to do this, there's a little bile in my mouth as I do this, but the Cowboys defense has played better in recent weeks. Now, they've done it against terrible teams. Okay, let's call it what it is. But the Cowboys defense is actually looking better, but their special teams, I believe even in this game, there was a return for the touchdown. The special teams have really bailed out the Cowboys the last few games. That's how they beat the Commanders with that Turbin touchdown, I believe. He returned a touchdown.
DeMarvion Overshone had pick 6 where he read a screen pass beautifully, tipped the ball in the air, caught it, and then ran it back for a touchdown. This is while I was peeling potatoes.
Okay.
for my mashed potatoes. But yeah, that was the game-changing moment basically, because they also forced a fumble from the Giants, and the Giants had the ball first in the second half, wound up getting 3 plays, fumble. It was a strip sack from by Kendricks, who and recovered by Overshone, and then Cowboys scored a touchdown about a minute, 2 minutes later. They scored another touchdown, and actually, to their credit, they got the first home win at AT&T at Gerald World this year. So good for them. I had to wait till Thanksgiving to get it, but they still got it. But then there's the nightcap. Then we have the nightcap between the Packers and the Dolphins, and that was another. I at the end of I caught the end of the movie. I caught most of the second quarter after I got done with the movie. At that point, it was 14-3, and then the Packers scored another touchdown, kick a field goal. It's 24-3 at the half.
Yeah,
and one final score wound up being 30-17, which is surprising. The Packers didn't score more points in the second half. They scored 2. They kicked 2 field goals, but Miami tried to make a game of it. Unfortunately, they ran out of time. Got off to a slow start. Miami's 0-7 in their last 7 games when it's below 32 degrees.
Yeah,
below freezing.
They're the
new Buccaneers.
See, and the thing is too, and Julie hit it on the head in the comments. She says Dolphins can't play in the cold. No, and if you saw the comments after the game from their head coach, Mike McDaniel, he
Ooh,
was
boy.
like, "Oh, we gotta stop this narrative, but it becomes a narrative when you prove it true. So it's up to us to stop it. It's not a narrative when it's a fact. You are
Yeah.
over in the cold. You can't play." And I submit, because I saw the list and I can't remember where I saw it. It might have been Twitter, might have been Facebook. But I saw the list of the things that the Dolphins were supposedly doing to prepare for playing in the cold. And at that point, I was like, this is in their head. They are perpetuating it because they're letting the cold psych them out before they even get to the game. And it's not all on Tua. People can talk about Tua. I saw ESPN yesterday. Cam Newton was saying Tua doesn't have the arm strength in the cold. You can tell by the way his ball wobbles out when he throws it. But their defense missed a ton of tackles in this game. Their defense cost them the game. It accounted for a lot of the Packers' yards were yards after a missed tackle. So the Dolphins shot themselves in the foot. It's not just on the quarterback. People like to heap it onto the quarterback, but their defense missed a ton of tackles in this game. Yeah. And I just started thinking, when I saw that list of their cold weather prep, I'm like, it's in their heads. It's in their heads.
What was it, like 3,500 pounds of equipment, 3,500 pounds of equipment? They brought cold weather. They brought heaters. They brought coats. It's like, guys, it's only 26 degrees at kickoff.
Yeah,
it's not that cold. But it's definitely in there. You're right. It's definitely a psychological thing, because I think part of it goes back to that game against Kansas City in the wild card round last year, when they played in that -9 degrees at kickoff. Was the
I third
understand. Coldest game in history. But and actually, Kevin Wilson with a great point. With a running back like HN, they should be much better in cold weather. They have to rely on their run, and their running game was stopped. In this game, they could not run the ball against the Packers. They had to rely on the pass too much. I mean, Tua still threw for 365 yards, but it didn't matter, because they didn't have the run support, and that was their bread and butter last year. It wasn't. Tua was helped by the run game, and when you put it all on Tua, and he stopped your run game, you're in a heap of trouble. You're in a heap of trouble. And I'm looking at the Miami Dolphins. This is their last 5 games. All right, so get ready. Next week they're at home against the Jets, so home game, Florida weather. Following week they're at Houston. Covered stadium, weather's not going to play a factor. Then they're at home against San Francisco. Their final 2 games of the season, at Cleveland, at the Jets. And those they're usually two cold weather cities, like Cleveland and the New York metro area. It's going to be under 32. It's going to be under 32 degrees both those games. Now we talked about how Miami was on the warpath coming back, based off of 3 wins in a row. But granted, those 3 wins were against the Rams, who are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I said what I said, playmaker. The Raiders and the Patriots. The Raiders and the Patriots are awful this year. And we also expected more from the Raiders, which is why I think they were in the Black Friday game, because we expected more out of the Raiders based on what happened last year, where they finished 5-4 to finish the season.
Yeah.
But now bad times, hard times.
Yeah. And do you think Antonio Pierce is going to be a coaching casualty this year?
No.
As a result of it? I hope not.
No, I hope not.
I think he's trying to build something down there, but they don't have a quarterback, and they lost. I mean, Devontae Adams left. They just don't have threats right now. And I'm sorry, but you need a better running back than Alexander Madison. And
you also need a better quarterback than Gardner Minshew and O'Connell.
Yes.
All right. Let's be real.
Yes.
Let's be real. Which brings us to our Friday game, Black Friday, the new tradition in the NFL, Black Friday game, Kansas City and Las Vegas. And Kansas City, once again, as Playmaker mentioned, he says, I'm starting to be convinced that Kansas City Chiefs are God's team. I think God plays favorites every different era. I think the Patriots were the favorite at one point. Now that's over. You know, the 49ers and the Cowboys were favorite, were God's team. Everyone's back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue that in the 80s. You could also argue that in the 70s with the Steelers and the Dolphins, and the
maybe
Cowboys,
the Raiders too.
Raiders, yep, and the Vikings to an extent. But yeah, I'm fully convinced that this. I'm not gonna say fully convinced, but I'm not gonna put my tinfoil hat on just yet. But I'm convinced somehow I'm a little bit that maybe there is a little favoritism with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. No, it's, somebody said to me the one time, and this is why everybody gets frustrated, and this happens with teams. This is why we all hated the Patriots, because it seemed like they would always get the break they needed or figure it out, and it's starting to happen with the Chiefs. And it sounds like all of us football fans who don't root for these teams have sour grapes. But there was one stat that my boss was talking to me one time, because we talk football occasionally once in a while. He comes into my office. We chop it up about football a little bit. And he said that he had read a stat somewhere that Mahomes has thrown a high amount of interceptions that basically were called back because of penalties. He's thrown a ton of interceptions, but it hasn't hurt them
happened last year in the Jets, the game against the Jets, where Sauce Gardner was it? No, it was it Brandon Eccles? No, Tony Adams had an interception, but the Jets got called for Sauce Gardner got called for a holding penalty, which should not have been a holding penalty. Yeah. I there's one example right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it just it just gets frustrating. They have won. The Chiefs, I believe their last 7 wins have been by one score. That, eventually that is going to catch up with you. You are not always going to win those games. To me, there's a scale. Right? And if you win enough of these close games, it starts to weigh in the good, where you're like, okay, the team's got the mental fortitude, they know how to win, they figure out ways to win. But to me, the narrative is starting to change. When you have won that many games by that few points, then it starts to be like, okay, what's going on? You guys can't close out game. Eventually, this luck streak, and let's call it what it is, you need luck to get wins like this. The Raiders fumbled on, what was it, the 10? I'm trying to, and there was the illegal shift penalty, because I didn't see much of this game. Thank you, Verizon. You sent me new equipment because you told me that my other equipment's too old, and if you don't activate it in 2 weeks, we're going to shut everything off. So I'm like, okay. I started installing this new equipment at 11 o'clock. Something wasn't working. I was supposed to reset something in my basement. Then it said it didn't have a signal. And then I tried to chat with one of their representatives, and it's like, you don't have Fios TV at your address. And I'm like, yes, I do. You sent me this equipment. And so I disregarded all their instructions and just started plugging things in. And guess what? I got it to work. But it took me long. So I only saw very little of this game, because then I had plans at 4. Friends of mine just bought a new house. I said, hey, I want to come see the house. So I did. Congratulations, Dave and Sheila. And it's very nice. And so I didn't see this, but it just, when the Raiders, or when the Chiefs are barely hanging on, you start to think, okay, eventually it's going to catch up to them. They can't keep doing this.
Yeah. And actually, the Raiders had 2 chances to win this game. They missed a field goal with 2:21 remaining. And then Aiden O'Connell got them within field goal range again at the 32 of Kansas City, but he botched the snap.
So it was at the 32. That's okay.
Yep. He botched the snap and unfortunately recovered by the Chiefs. But yeah, you're definitely right about the Chiefs' last few games. So, yeah, one score game against the Raiders. And yes, Mr. Wilson, we acknowledged you before.
Yes, we did tell you.
You to stay away from that point spread. You told us. We acknowledge you are our fantasy tribal chief. We acknowledge you. But yeah, they won by 2 against the Raiders. They had a walk-off win against Carolina, lost against Buffalo, had to block a field goal attempt to beat Denver.
Yeah.
And they won a 6-point win against Tampa Bay and a 7-point win against the same Raiders who they played 5 weeks back. So this, yeah, you're right. This streak, this luck, I don't know if you want to call it luck or you want to call it just bad football in terms of their own standards, is going to run out. And this is their last. They got a heck of a schedule coming up. Their last 5 games. You want to hear the next 5 games for the Chiefs?
Sure.
Home against the Raiders. Home against the Chargers. That's next Sunday night. At Cleveland, trap game. Home against Houston, which is 1:00 on NBC in the 20. Oh, it's a Saturday game. It's a Saturday game.
Oh,
Saturday
love
games
those
are coming
Saturday
up.
games.
Saturday games are coming up. So the Saturday afternoon game against Houston, at Pittsburgh, at Denver to round up the season. So I think they'll lose at least 2 of those games. They'll definitely lose at Pittsburgh, and I think they might even lose at Denver. I mean, they clinched the playoff spot, but they still got a ways to go in order to clinch the number 1 seed. They still got a ways to go to clinch home field. Yeah, get the extra bye week. Right now, if you look at the standings in the conference, they're still they're a game and a half up on Buffalo right now, but Buffalo holds the advantage because of their based on their win against Kansas City. So if they went up in the same record, Buffalo gets the number 1 seed. But Pittsburgh's right behind them. Baltimore's right behind them. The Chargers are still in it too. So they're 3 games by they're right now they're 3.5 games behind, but they could still and by the way, the Raiders are the first team eliminated from playoff contention. So
I believe the Giants were also eliminated, are they
let's
not?
double check.
That
they
loss?
were. Sorry, you were right. The Giants were the first team eliminated from playoff contention.
Sorry, Uncle Al.
Sorry,
Al. And Dave Pregent. Sorry, all the Giants fans I know.
Sorry,
in my life.
Brother Jim. Although my brother Jim is starting to slowly turn into a Buffalo Bills fan because CJ Beast Christian is a Buffalo Bills fan. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the rest of what we're looking forward to or not looking forward to in NFL Week 13. So stand by for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air-roasted, 100% money-back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. I saw Dustin during the commercial go and get himself, looks like he got himself some more Invader Coffee.
I did. You predicted it. I sprinted. Hey. I said, I got to get more.
In the 45-second ad that he got his coffee, he got his refill. But yes, right now, if I checked the website, there's still... They got nothing right now. Their inventory is flat out. They're out of coffee, unfortunately. But
it's because it's so good, Ryan.
It's because it's so good. But their holiday blends are coming out soon. I am looking forward to getting the Bad Santa blend, which is one of my favorite blends of all time. But you've also got the Cookie Crumble, the Jolly Java, but you also got their OG blends. You got the OG blend. You got the Don't Cali My Texas. You got the Break in Case of Emergency. The Pumpkin Pecan might still, hopefully they'll still have that. They also got Curry Cups, and they've got Cold Brew. So, check their website daily for more inventory updates. But in the meantime, but when they do get coffee, when they do get inventory in, use our link in the description because it helps the show. It's our affiliate link. Also, at checkout, use promo code BELLYUP for 15% off your order. Save a little bit on shipping. But this coffee comes right to your door. It's air roasted. You don't get that bitterness like you do from other store blends. You don't get that. It's robust. It's a great coffee. It's great drinking coffee. I drink it black. I mean, because if you get the store-bought stuff, you have to put sugar, milk, all that crap you put in your coffee that just adds extra calories. With a Mayor coffee, you just drink it straight up black, and it's delicious.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've liked every blend that I've gotten, and that's not some BS. I have liked every blend that I've gotten. Now, their descriptions are pretty good at describing what the coffee is, so I'm very selective. I get blends that I think will agree with my palate. I drink my coffee black, but I still like a medium or the occasional light blend. I'm not quite over to the dark roast yet. I'm not on the dark side with Darth Vader yet, but I imagine as I get older, I will get there. So I'm looking forward to it because I will have a new plethora of roasts to try from Invader Coffee. But I have not had a bad blend. Like Ryan said, you don't have to put all that extra stuff in it. I'm drinking the pumpkin pecan right now, and it's just the perfect amount of flavor. And a side note of the coffee, I love breaking open the bags to ground it up because Ryan and I get whole bean. You can get whole bean or previously ground coffee. I just love the way it smells. You know, this bag smells like fall, Thanksgiving, pumpkin pie to me. I love it. It's great. It's great. You should try some today. Use the promo code 15% off your order. Belly up.
And use the affiliate link in the description on Facebook and on Facebook, YouTube, and in the podcast description. Use our affiliate link because we get a little something for using the affiliate link because they've been a long time. They've been the longest affiliate sponsor with no credentials required for a very long time. I'd probably say since 2020. Yeah, they've been doing this for a long time. So get yourself some Invader Coffee. I forgot to mention this this is my bad. So before we went on Thursday, Dustin and I were in the green room. We were talking about, for some reason, you said something about Canadian Thanksgiving, which is usually celebrated on Columbus Day in the United States. And you came up with a great idea, but I kind of piggybacked on it. So give the people at home what your idea is for Columbus Day.
So I said that, why do we have to do Thanksgiving only once a year? It's my favorite holiday. We'll start celebrating Canadian Thanksgiving and we'll do like a Friendsgiving, a Friendsgiving or whatever on that day. Because I said, why should you only have to? Everybody looks forward. Well, a lot of people have a lot of feelings on turkey, but a lot of people look forward to Thanksgiving to have the type of food that you have, like the stuffing, the mashed potatoes. Why only limit it to once a year? And I said we should do a Friendsgiving, and I hope that's the idea that you were talking about.
But I added on to this because it's Columbus Day in the United States. Columbus, we all know. Right?
Oh yes,
the Italian by way of Spain, with the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, making his way to the shores of the United States eventually. He landed on Hispaniola first, which became the Dominican Republic and Haiti.
Yeah.
He eventually wound up in America, the United States of America, what would become the United States of America. I said we should celebrate Friendsgiving with Italian food.
I'm down for that.
Chicken parm, lasagna, get some cannolis for dessert, some zeppoles, some pasta, some gabagool.
A little bit of the gabagool.
Gabagool. So do a Friendsgiving, but we do it with Italian food.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that.
Yeah. So in the comments section, let us know if you missed out on Thanksgiving, what you had, or what you would like to have on your Thanksgiving table. At Thanksgiving. All right, we're going to move quickly and talk about Week 13 in the NFL. Talk about the most intriguing matchup in Week 13. Yes, Week 13 of the National Football League. And Dustin, I'll start with you. What's your most intriguing matchup in Week 13?
Well, I'm not going to be able to see this game because I am going to be at the Jets versus Seahawks game, which I'll find a way to put it on this list so that we can discuss it a little bit. But I'm going to say the most intriguing matchup for me is Eagles Ravens.
Yeah.
This one is a matchup. It's two heavyweights. It's also AFC versus NFC, so it could be a preview of something.
Could be a preview.
And
hope it's a preview of something.
yeah. I mean, and the thing is, the biggest thing for me is you got I would say the number 1 and 2 running backs in the league respectively this year. J.K. Dobbins might have something to say about that for me, but Derrick Henry versus Saquon Barkley. I know that they can't physically match up, but which team will be able to stop the other? Which team will be able to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Also, will Jalen Hurts, because I think people forget Jalen Hurts can be a weapon.
Yes.
He hasn't had to be this year. He's not the main cog of the offense. You and I have talked ad nauseum that it is Saquon Barkley's offense right now. He adds a dimension to them that they did not have. I'm looking at you, Rashad Penny. I still don't know why the Eagles signed him and then sat him for the entire year last year, but that or was that the year before? I'm trying to remember. But they have a dimension that they didn't have previously. But also on the flip side, Derrick Henry adds that dimension to the Baltimore Ravens that they did not have before. And we all know what kind of weapon Lamar Jackson can be. Now, I give the edge in quarterback to Lamar. This is what I like to do sometimes. I match them up in my head. I give the edge at quarterback to Lamar. At running back, it's a wash with maybe a slight edge to Saquon this year. Then you got at wide receiver, I give the edge to the Eagles. The Eagles have better wide receivers. At tight end, the Ravens. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely are a better combo than the Eagles tight ends. This is just going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to this one. And with that, I send the floor over to you.
So I went with a bit of I kind of flipped the script a little bit. So I looked at the matchups, and I looked at all these games, and there really isn't a dog, like a really bad game in this week, for once. Although there is one I'm not going to watch because for the self-hatred game of the week, but I picked the Titans and our friend in the show, Drew Willingham's Washington Commanders. Are they cool? Can we start calling them the Redskins again? Although I don't know if you saw his post yesterday. He was wearing the full
he was wearing
RED-SKINS gear.
Yes, he was. I did see a little bit of it. I tuned in because I noticed, and he was on one yesterday. He was zooming right into the camera, and he was saying, "I get to wear this again." So, do you know what's going on with it? I don't know. Like, can they use the logo but not the name? Like, I don't know what's going on with this.
So I caught the story on Daily Wire, and it says. And the headline says Washington Commanders agree to uncancel Redskins logo, and I guess this was the story says the Washington Commanders managing partner Josh Harris and the NFL Commanders ownership group have agreed to uncancel the Redskins history, the iconic Blackfoot Chief logo, and just kind of went into it a little bit, and it's weird. It's because here's the thing with that logo, it was actually made by a member of the Blackfoot Indian tribe.
Yeah,
that's the thing that kills me is that, this is trickling down to our region because New York State, in their infinite wisdom, said all logos and names of Native related high schools had to change their name. So my alma mater, the Shenandoah Plainsmen, will no longer be the Shenandoah Plainsmen as of next year. And this has alumni very upset, myself included. My sister, we talked about it last night at dinner with my sister-in-law. We talked about it because her kids were wondering all about it, about why they're changing the name. And it wasn't the school's choice. It was based on New York State law. But the article, but we talked about it a little bit, and she actually had her senior year T-shirt from 1993. She brought it in, and it had the old menacing native logo from back in the day. She showed it to her kids. Her kids are like, "That's so cool!"
Yeah.
So everything old is new again. Just the NCAA needs to do the same thing. But yeah, I mean, the article goes on. I think people are. I think what it is that they're not going to bring the name back, but they're going to let people wear the old gear to the stadium. And I think this was a great move because when Daniel Snyder, in his infinite wisdom, had the name changed because the NFL threatened him, and they also the apparel companies like Nike and Adidas all threatened him, saying you got to change the logo under pressure. And of course, he capitulated. But Josh Harris is like, no, we want and I think that alienated a lot of fans, including our friend of the show, Drew Willingham, who still kept his gear. To his credit, he kept his gear.
Yeah.
So
he said on his stream that I caught a little bit of, he says, I have a metric ton of this gear and I'm excited to be able to wear it again, is what he said.
Yeah. So people are going to be able to wear that gear to back to the stadium. I happen to think that, I think it's a good thing. But going back to this game, the most intriguing matchup, because you get the Commanders, they're on a 3-game slide. They were threatening the Eagles for first place in the NFC East. They've lost their last 3 games in a row, including the one to the Eagles. They lost last week in a fluky situation, in a fluky game against the
Cowboys.
Fluky game against the Cowboys. And they lost 2 weeks before. They lost 2 games against the 2 Pennsylvania teams, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, by single digits. They also lost to the Cowboys in single digits. This week they're playing a Titans team that is flying high with confidence based on their win against the Texans last week. So you got the Titans team, who is very confident. You've got Commanders team, which is kind of on the downswing. I won't say a downward spiral. If they lose this game, the spiral is happening. The spiral is happening with 5 games left. And after this game against you can't overlook Tennessee, because they got New Orleans, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Dallas for their remaining 4 games. So it's a tough-ish schedule down the stretch. New Orleans is in the new coach bump right now. They're 2-0 since firing Dennis Allen. So the Commanders need this win. And they're playing a team that is very confident after their upset win last week. So I'm watching this game for sure. Moving on to Desperation City / Bounce Back City. I'll lead off with this one. I'm going to say I went with the Steelers-Bengals game as Bounce Back City. Steelers lost a heartbreaker in the snow in Cleveland last Thursday night. They've had 10 days to review their mistakes, try to learn from them. Now, here's the thing. Do they take their frustrations out on a Bengals team that can't seem to finish? Or do the Bengals jump on the Steelers early and try to hang on? Because both these teams are looking to try to advance in the playoff race. The Steelers are first place, I believe, by a half game over the Ravens. And the Bengals, believe it or not, the Bengals are still have not been eliminated from the playoffs yet. But they've been losing these games. Like, you're just like, what? How do they lose? How do they lose these games? They're sitting at 4-7 right now. So they're not completely out of playoff contention. Somehow they're 4-7, and yet they're +1 in the point differential. So the Bengals, if the Bengals jump on the Steelers early, this could be a prime game for an upset based on where they are in the standings right now. So the Steelers are half game up on the Ravens right now. They're 8-3. Ravens are 8-4. So this is definitely a game that we could see Pittsburgh either bounce back from, or the Bengals are desperate enough to stay in playoff contention at 5, and they could move to 5-7 and stay within the race for the final playoff spot, for the final wild card spot in the AFC, because that's how bad the AFC is right now this year. What about you, Dustin? Desperation City, bounce back city for you?
Desperation City, I was reviewing these games and I took one look and one really jumped out to me, and it's the Vikings and the Cardinals. Mainly because I'm going to say it again, but to keep pace with the Lions, the Vikings have to keep winning. So same for the Packers, by the way. Every single one of their games becomes a desperation game simply by the fact that they need to keep winning. And obviously, on the Cardinals side of things, the Cardinals need a win after, believe me, I'm happy this happened, but losing to my Seahawks last week really kind of put this NFC West is crazy. It's crazy right now. And the Seahawks need to win tomorrow against the Jets. I will be there live. Staniel Smooth, friend of the show, also will be there live. And your cohort on the Three Rails Metro Hockey podcast. And the Seahawks need to win against the Jets tomorrow. I could see a scenario happening where the Jets play like everyone thought they were going to play and they dominate the Seahawks. I hope it doesn't happen. But the Seahawks defense has gotten their act together a little bit in the last few games. And I personally am hoping that Kenneth Walker runs all over the New York Jets. But I'm a little afraid anytime they got Breece Hall in the backfield, I'm a little afraid of that. And if the Jets get Garrett Wilson going, I don't know. Kobe Bryant, he had a great interception in that Cardinals win. Who knows what happens? But that's for me to find out live in somewhat cold weather tomorrow. I'm going to be dressing warm. And we're going to be having some sandwiches in the parking lot. I got to go to the store after the show, pick up some stuff for the sandwiches. But back to the Cardinals need this win. They need this win, and it's going to be against the Vikings defense that at points has looked very, very good this year. And they've kind of, like Sam Darnold, they've kind of come back to earth a little bit, but they're still winning games. So both teams need this one, in my opinion. The Cardinals slightly more so, but if the Vikings lose this, it's going to be a problem. I'm personally hoping the Vikings can pull it out. Sorry, Julie, but I'm hoping the Vikings can pull it out because it puts more distance and gives my beloved Seahawk team a little bit more room for error if they do gack one up against the New York Jets tomorrow.
Yeah. Mr. Wilson, fellow Seahawks fans, and looking forward to the rivalry game. Jets versus Seahawks, discuss. I'm just looking forward to the season being over. Let's just put it that way. He also says, don't forget the chicken marsala. I guess. Playmaker saying Bills are asking Bills Mafia to shovel snow because yes, there's 2 to 3 feet because lake effect snow at Orchard Park.
Dude, everybody's used to it, but I can't. Did you see the thing? Watertown might get 70 inches. They could get 70 inches. I know.
Not surprised.
Thank goodness I don't live there.
Yeah, me too. Oh, it was funny. When I was in second grade and I was moving, when I told my second grade teacher, Miss Gruber, that I was moving, she said, "Oh, are you moving to Watertown?" I thought I was moving to Watertown.
Oh,
it was Waterford.
Oh,
she said,
okay.
"Are you in Watertown?" I'm like, yeah, we're moving to Watertown. Oh, I've got my brother and my sister lives. Like, I've got relatives lives up there. I'm like, okay, good for you. He's also asking you to. Kevin's also asking you to post pictures of the game tomorrow. So
I will take some pictures of the game.
Yeah.
I have some pictures from the game that I went to with you, Ryan, in 2016. I will have pictures from this one as well. And the next time the Jets and Seahawks play each other, let's you and I try to go to the game, but hopefully it's in a warm week. I really don't. Do you remember what I said to you when you asked me? You said, hey, what if we went to Jets Seahawks are playing each other this year back in 2016? And do you remember the first question I asked you? I said, what week?
Yeah.
I said, what week?
Well,
and you said week 4. And I said, great, I'm in.
Okay. But according to AccuWeather, it'll be 38 degrees at kickoff tomorrow. So it'll be above freezing.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too
it's not
bad.
too
I'm
bad.
still dressing warm here, though.
Good idea. All right. To our self-hatred game of the week.
Ready? And pull. Trash.
Like I said, not too many dogs this week when it comes to the self-hatred game of the week, but I got one in mind. But Dustin, why don't you lead off?
Okay, so I'm going to lead off, and I hope it's not the same one you've picked, but I'm picking Colts Patriots. There's really no... We thought that Gerard Mayo had that Patriots defense overperforming a bit early in the season. Turns out we were right. They have regressed. Drake May has looked good at times, but there's not much, especially in the way at wide receiver for the Patriots. It'll be interesting to see what Gerard Mayo can do in future drafts, because those Belichick drafts, he did not prioritize receiver at all. It's a known weakness for them. And then on the Colts side of things, I can't figure this team out. Like, the games that you think they might have a chance to win, they somehow lose, and then you think they're going to get dump trucked in a game and they actually stay around. There's no reason for me to watch this game. This is one that I'll be happy to miss as I'm watching a game live at MetLife tomorrow.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I said Colts. I would put in the showdown, the rundown notes. Colts, Patriots. Just, blech.
Yeah. That's all you need to say. Honorable mention, and Playmaker agrees with me. I almost picked the Rams Saints because the Saints have improved a little bit, and shockingly, because of their division, they are not out of it yet.
Nope.
But I would agree with him. This should be a game that the Rams should win, and they should win it rather easily. Shut down Alvin Kamara, and you've got this game. That's how it works. But we'll see what happens.
Yep, we'll see what happens. All right, players to watch on the offensive side of the board this week, and it's going to be chalk for the both of us. Saquon Barkley and Dustin Henry, Derrick Henry, your brother from another mother.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, he never misses leg day.
He never missed leg day. The two leading rushers in the NFL going head to head.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued. This is going to be one of those games. It could be a low scoring affair, or it's going to be the highest scoring game of the season. It could be one of two games.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the weakness for the Ravens has been their pass defense. Yeah. Granted, 2 of those games were against Joe Burrow, and he threw for 300 yards against them. But that's been one of their weaknesses this year. And if the Eagles can get the pass game going, this might be an intriguing game to. It's going to be definitely an intriguing game to watch, Bert. But I'm just kind of curious to see what both the 2 leading rushers in the NFL, by a wide margin, by the way, they can do against each other's defenses, because the Eagles have a pretty stout run defense. So do the Ravens. So I'm kind of curious to see what they do against each other. But for you, players to watch on offense this week.
For you, again, it's chalk, but I'm going with the quarterbacks in these 2 games, because the running backs, I kind of figured that you were going to pick this, because we've both been very, very tuned into the running backs this year, specifically these 2. I mean, how could you not pick these 2 as players to watch? Yep. For me, so I'm going to do a little different, and I'm picking the quarterbacks, because to me, these teams are pretty evenly matched as far as I'm concerned. So one of the quarterbacks is going to have to step up and make a difference, and I give the edge to Lamar Jackson to do that. He is more integrated into their offense. He is, despite the addition of Derrick Henry, he is still like one of the main fulcrums in that offense. That's right. I'm using vocab words. But Jalen Hurts, he's kind of been the forgotten man, as much as you can be playing quarterback in this league and be the forgotten man. But that's how good Saquon has been. Will Jalen be able to remind us and say, hey, I can still do all these things. So it'll be very interesting to watch these two match up at quarterbacks. And this could be one of those games, like you said, could come down to who makes the first mistake.
Yep. All right, let's talk about who we're watching on defense.
I can't have him locked up. He's important to the defense.
Indeed, these players are important to their respective defenses. So, Dustin, who you watching on defense this week?
All right. You got to play the Homer alert sounder.
All right, here we go. Homer alert!
I will be watching specifically the Seahawks pass rush, and I will be watching their corners because I want to see how Kobe Bryant et al. And Witherspoon and Reek Woolen. I want to see how they match up with Devontae Adams and they match up with Garrett Wilson, who I know the Jets haven't played up to their standard this year, Ryan. I know that they haven't done what we thought they would do. Both of us thought they might do. But still, they have talent. Garrett Wilson, there's no denying he's a talented receiver. Devontae Adams, injured or no, we know what he can be in this league. And the wide receivers and Breece Hall, who we know can catch it out of the backfield a little bit. That's what scares me about this game. And I feel like Gino's going to have to play mistake-free football. He chucks the ball a lot. He throws it all around the yard. But the Seahawks quietly, and I don't mean to disparage our team, Kevin or Staniel, if you are watching or you hear this later. I don't mean to disparage our team. But the Seahawks, low-key, they have a problem finishing drives. They get within, they march the ball up and down the field, but then they either settle for field goals or something happens and they can't get touchdowns. You have to do that tomorrow, especially playing a defense like the New York Jets. But I will be specifically watching the corners and the pass rush. If you can't generate sacks on Aaron Rodgers and the way that the Jets offensive line has played, you're going to have trouble in this game tomorrow. So I'm watching the Seahawks defense with a special, probably a little blurry eye from the amount of beers I could drink tomorrow to try to stay warm. I'll have my eye on the Seahawks corners and their pass rush. And with that, I cede it over to you.
So for me, I'm watching one player in particular, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett currently is 1.5 sacks behind Trey Hendrickson for the lead, for the individual sack leader lead in the NFL. They're playing the Cleveland Browns are playing the Denver Broncos on Monday night.
Yes.
And Bo Nix is on the other side of the ball for the Broncos. And he's right now he's my rookie of the year. But here's the stat that really sticks out to me. Do you guess how many times Bo Nix has been sacked this season?
How many times he's been sacked?
Yeah.
Well, I think the Seahawks got to him about 3 times in week 1. I'm trying to figure out. I'm going to throw a guess out there and say he's been sacked 12 times. It's probably way off. Way off.
He's been sacked only 19 times this year.
Oh, 19. Okay.
19 times. Yes. So in 12 games, he's only been sacked 19 times. And here's the thing that with Bo Nix is that he's mobile. Yeah. He's a mobile QB. He can run the ball when he needs to. He can scramble, create plays, but it's going to be a tough task against the defense like the Browns, who can get after the quarterback.
Yeah,
they can get after the quarterback. So I'm got my eye on Myles Garrett. I'll have to watch this game because I'm gotta pay more attention. I gotta pay more attention to the Monday night and Thursday night games because I'm helping out with Total Football Talk Extra hopefully in the future. I'll be helping out with them. But Cleveland currently is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're 10th in the league in sacks, and Denver's number 1 with 44. So
Yeah, which I still
it's gonna be a fun battle.
Yeah, that has happened, and I have to admit, on I think it was on Prime when I finally got the internet working and I started to watch the beginning of that Chiefs Raiders game. There was a commercial, and it said, "The holiday season is officially here. Let's see what I have to give everybody." And it's some lady, and she selects a tape, and she puts the tape in, and it's like, "How about a prime time matchup between the Broncos and Browns? You're welcome, America." And I was like,
Ugh.
is that really a great gift? But I guess, this game could be a better game than you think. And the Broncos the Broncos are sneakily, that defense leading the league in sacks. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed that maybe it was the New York Giants, because I know for a while they were sacking people like madmen over there.
The Giants are 5th. Currently.
Okay, so they've dropped a little bit.
They've dropped a little bit. So it's Denver, Houston, Baltimore, Minnesota, New York Giants, Chargers, Cowboys, Jets, Eagles, Browns. Those are your top 10 sack leaders for the NFL this year. Before we get out of here, go to the comments real quick. Playmaker saying which defense he's looking out for is it's Atlanta, Chargers or Falcons. So yeah, he says which defense will rise for me. I presume he's got this eye on this game for many reasons, for different reasons.
For maybe some cheddar. And
maybe some cheddar.
If you want my prediction, Playmaker, I'm going to say it will be the Chargers. Give me Jim Harbaugh this year as getting a defense prepared versus Raheem Morris. We detailed that on an earlier show. He hasn't exactly been the spark for the Falcons defense that I thought he might be. So give me Harbaugh on that one.
And welcome to Sane joining us late. Says, "Oh no, I'm so late." That's okay, bud. Replay. There's always
Still
a replay.
Happy to have you.
All right, we ran a little long for this Saturday edition. No credentials required, but that's okay. When we get into it, we get into it. But just want to remind you before we get out of here, follow us on social media on Facebook, facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, Twitter, Instagram, the scarcely used TikTok @NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Pandora. And hit the notification bell on both Twitter and on YouTube. That way you know when the OG show is live, or a video is up, a pre-produced video is up, or a clip is up and running. On the podcast side, rate and review. A 5-star rating would be helpful. If you can review the show, leave us a review. They help us. And also on Spotify, if you're subscribed on Spotify and you listen, leave a comment. We'll get to your comment and engage with the show. Live show every Saturday. Although, again, at the top of the show, we talked about some of the things that are going on. So we have to change some things this month, especially. So Dustin won't be here on Tuesdays, but I'll bring in a special guest. We're going to do some Friday shows and do Saturday shows this month. And no shows on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, because you're a psychopath if you stream on New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. But engage with the show likewise. Leave a comment. We'll get back to you on the comment side. But in the meantime, thank you for listening to or tuning in on the live show or on replay on To No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. We're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of the games this weekend, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Yes, I will miss you all on Tuesday, but come back Saturday. I will be here, and I'm going to watch that replay because I want to see who Ryan brings in. I'm very excited to see. And also tune in because he's going to give you the dates of our Friday happy hour show. And with that, I say good morning, everybody.
There it is.
This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Gladiator 2 is now streaming on Paramount Plus. Rated R. Years after the death of Maximus, Lucius is forced into the Colosseum after his home is conquered by tyrannical twin Roman emperors. With the future of the empire at stake, he must find strength and honor to return the glory of Rome to its people. Gladiator 2, now streaming on ParamountPlus.com.